The night was quiet, too quiet for a city that never slept. A streetlight flickered, casting a shaky glow on the cracked pavement below. Then, the sound of footsteps echoed, slow, heavy, and menacing. A man stood there, tall, broad-shouldered, his hands trembling slightly though his eyes were calm. Behind him, two small boys clutched each other, fear written all over their young faces. The man turned his head just enough to whisper, "Back away now." His voice was low, steady, but carried a power that even the night seemed to respect. He was just a single father, an ordinary man. But tonight he was the wall between innocence and danger. What the thugs didn't know was that the two boys hiding behind him weren't just any children. They were the billionaire twins the whole city had been searching for. That was how it all began. Ethan Cole never planned on being a hero. He was a construction worker, a widowed father raising his little daughter Lily in a small rented apartment at the edge of town. Life wasn't kind to him, but he knew how to fight quietly, with patience, sweat, and a heart that refused to break. Every morning started the same way, packing Lily's lunch, walking her to the bus stop, then heading to work with his thermos of lukewarm coffee and hoped that today would be a little easier. But the universe doesn't ask what you can handle, it just hands you storms to see if you'll stand. It was a rainy Thursday when it all changed. Ethan was on his way home from work when he saw two boys, about 10 years old, drenched, shivering, and lost near the alleyway by the old bakery. Their clothes were expensive, designer brands no normal child wore in this part of town. Ethan stopped, instinct kicking in before logic. "Hey, you two okay?" he asked gently. The boys didn't speak at first. One of them flinched when Ethan moved closer. The other one just stared, his eyes sharp but scared. "We can't go home," the older twin whispered finally. "They'll find us." Ethan didn't understand, but the fear in their voices was real. He took them home, dried them off, gave them food, and listened as they finally spoke. Their names were Leo and Liam Whitmore. He recognized the name instantly. The Whitmore family was one of the wealthiest in the country, owners of half the skyscrapers in the city. Their father, Damian Whitmore, had been all over the news for a recent scandal and a sudden disappearance, and now his sons were sitting in Ethan's living room, their tiny hands clutching hot cocoa like it was the only warmth left in their world. As the night grew deeper, Ethan realized what kind of trouble they were in. Men were out there searching for these boys, not to save them, but to silence them. Lily, his daughter, slept in her room unaware, her stuffed bunny tucked under her chin. Ethan knew he should call the police, but something in his gut told him not to. There was fear in the boy's eyes when he even mentioned the word authorities. "They're not all good," Liam whispered. "They work for them." He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he stayed by the window, watching shadows move under the streetlights. Every creak of the building made him tense. And when the sound of tires screeching broke the silence at 3 a.m., his instincts took over. He told the boys to hide behind the couch, turned off all the lights, and waited. The door rattled, voices whispering outside. Then came the knock, slow, deliberate. "Mr. Cole," a voice called. "We know you've got them. Step aside and no one gets hurt." And Ethan's breath hitched. They knew his name. He stepped toward the door, his heart pounding but his body steady. He grabbed the wrench from his toolbox. It wasn't much, but it felt like courage in his hand. "Back away now," he said through the crack of the door. "You're not taking any kids from this house." The door burst open. The next few seconds were chaos, shouting, shoving, glass breaking. Ethan fought like a man who had everything to lose. Because he did. The thugs underestimated him. An ordinary worker, yes, but one with the strength of a father protecting his own. He took a hit, blood running down his cheek, but he didn't fall. When one of the men reached toward the boys, Ethan threw himself between them, yelling, "Over my dead body," and maybe that was the moment they realized this wasn't a man who scared easily. Sirens wailed in the distance. The men ran, fading into the night, leaving behind a shattered door and a trembling family of 3. Ethan slumped against the wall, breathing hard, pain clawing at his ribs. The boys ran to him, tears streaming down their faces. "Why did you help us?" Leo asked, his voice shaking. Ethan smiled faintly through the pain. "Because someone's got to show you there's still good people left in this world." The police came later, but this time Ethan didn't trust them blindly. He made sure to contact a journalist he knew, a kind woman who once helped him find justice for a worker injured at his site. With her help, The truth came out. The Whitmore twins' father had been framed, and the men chasing them were part of the corruption that wanted the family gone. Ethan's bravery became the spark that exposed it all. Days turned into weeks. The boys were reunited with their father after he was cleared of charges. But they didn't forget the man who stood between them and danger. Damian Whitmore, the billionaire once broken by betrayal, came to Ethan's small apartment one morning, holding his sons close. "You saved my family," he said, voice thick with emotion. "I don't know how to repay that." Ethan looked at him, then at Lily playing on the floor. "You don't owe me anything," he replied. "Just make sure those boys grow up knowing kindness." But Damian didn't forget. Months later, Ethan found himself offered a new job, foreman of a massive housing project sponsored by Whitmore Enterprises. His life began to change slowly, piece by piece, but he remained the same man, the one who stood firm when fear came knocking. And every time he walked Lily to school, or looked at the photo of the twins smiling beside him, he remembered that night. The night he chose courage over fear, compassion over convenience. The night an ordinary man became the shield between darkness and innocence. Back away now, those words had once been a warning, but they became something more. A reminder that sometimes standing your ground isn't about fighting enemies. It's about protecting the light that's left in this world. Because heroes aren't born rich or powerful. Sometimes they're just single dads who refuse to step aside.